what you got. Don't sweat it until you hit the top. Work with what you got. Don't forget it until you hit the spot. Gotta work with.
Welcome to Next Up Accessories, where we connect your next up and vehicle personalization to help you make more money and happier customers. What is vehicle personalization? That is a process in your showroom where you present customization to your buyer. It's a proven methodology to increase your paycheck, give your customers what they want, and skyrocket your CSI. For more about vehicle personalization and how to get your dealership making happier customers, check us out at insigniagroup.com. If you're a salesperson at a dealership and you're a customer of Insignia, make sure you're reading our blogs, which is full of best practices. Click through our website and subscribe. Or find us on social media and start a conversation with us. We want to thank Side Hustle for the use of their song, Work With What You Got. Seems appropriate. Find them online at sidehustletheband.com. All right, Cameron, we are in our new studio.
Very nice.
This is very nice. We've upgraded our studio. We want to thank James Brooks, my business partner, for all of his handiwork. It's beautiful. Check out some pictures online. So how are we feeling?
Feeling great.
Been a little bit time from since we had our last.
It's been a while.
Yeah, been a while. So I have a confession to make, Cameron. I am a travel snob. I have to put it out there. I'm a complete travel snob. I am one of those ones who has the luxury or the benefit of traveling enough to where I get some perks. And I've grown quite accustomed to the luxuries of travel, especially first class. And I have to tell a little story. I had to travel recently, and last year, 2019, I did not travel enough to keep my status. Yes. So I am now in group 6, which I call a big old piece of humble pie. So I am loading late. There's no room in the overhead for my luggage. I have to check bags. I mean, this is not travel. This is a big old piece of humble pie. So I pine for those times where I was in first class. And what was so nice about being in first class was those seats, the leather seats. And our guest today is a man who helps customers drive in first class. Every time they get in their car, it's first class. And I can attest to this because Katzkin Leather actually helped us with the Diplomat Challenge. And I drive every day in first class to the office in my Tuscany leather two-toned interior. And it's fantastic. So today's guest is Bill North. Mr. Bill North, say hello to our audience.
Good morning. Appreciate you having me on.
So Bill North has been in the aftermarket accessories business for over 30 years. From sunroofs to specialty parts for muscle cars to luxury leather seats at Katzkin, North knows how to make a car stand out from the rest. Better yet, he knows how to help you sell them. North graduated from Central Michigan University, earning a Bachelor of Science and Business in Marketing and Management. And get this, he minored in statistics. North is currently the National Account Manager for Katzkin Leather, which provides dealerships and restylers with luxury leather interiors that fit most any car and truck on the road today. Mr. North, how are you feeling today?
Wonderful. It's we've got snow in Michigan, but it's expected in February, and spring isn't too far away.
Yeah, you would have surprised me if you said you didn't have any snow in Michigan.
Right.
So you and I have known each other for a really long time. And one of the things that I think is so endearing about you is your unwavering, undying love of those lions and how you dress out and you talk about tailgating. I mean, you know how to do it. I mean, I see your posts at 5 a.m. and you're out there, and it's god awful cold in Michigan and you're out there tailgating all day. Tell me a little bit about your love of the Lions and where that came from.
Yeah, I think love is accurate, David. And I live an hour from Ford Field. And so when you see me go live at 5, that means I pretty much need to be out the door by about 3:30. So I get it's probably more of an obsession than love, but I grew up with it. The part that I can control, which is the tailgate, I walk into every game 1-0. As far as the tailgate is concerned, I can walk in as a winner and have enough fun that if it doesn't go well, because we lose 2/3 of the time approximately. it's not going to wreck my Sunday or like it used to the entire week ahead. So it's a celebration in the parking lot. It's kind of one of the few things that keep me connected with dear friends from college and throughout the years. So I'm not the only one with this affinity for the Detroit Lions. So
you're always videoing with others around you, and as they say in the South, bless your heart.
We need it. We'll take it. Thank you, David.
So that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about other than the 30 years of experience that we hit off the show with, tell me a little bit more about your experience in the industry, Bill.
Sure. Yeah. Automotive for life. Dad owns a body shop. Mom's a veterinarian. So I leaned more towards the cars than the animals at a young age. And I learned enough about the body shop business through my father that it wasn't going to be a career for me. Got a lot of exposure to customer interaction, a lot of vehicle interaction, but it wasn't for me. And after graduation, I really just fortunately stepped into the sunroof business, which in 1988 was on a massive growth curve. I fell in, helped establish the entire network for Webasto from 88 to 95, great times, 80s, 90s. And we grew. I was promoted a few times. A lot of international experience came with Webasto and other business segments. But it started with a college professor that told me about a guy that was hiring at Webasto. And I had an interview and was offered a job in 88 is how my path got started there.
Nice. Excellent. And so you must be decent at math if you minored in statistics. I mean, that's one shy of a math major there. It seemed like you were dabbling.
Yeah, the numbers reveal a lot. Yeah, for sure.
So then how did you come to Katzkin?
Katzkin, we had a partnership with Webasto at Katzkin. So when we were coming into the storm that I like to call 08 and 09, which affected everybody, but Detroit in particular, it was a mutual friend of ours, David, Ron Leslie, that I coordinated with combining our sales force. Very unconventional.
I think that's about the time that we met, was when you were still with Webasto. And you guys really recruited Insignia and me into the Restyler organization there at SEMA. So that's about the time we met.
Exactly, yeah. And, because we all had to do everything possible. And at the time, we can all attest, it was survival mode. And so we coordinated, we merged our sales forces. Ron and I realized we were calling on the same type customers with a very similar message, and the products were complementary. And so we just homologated, merged our entire teams and survived 08, 09, 10. At that point, and that's what led me to, when that program moved along, I then became available for joining the Katzkin team.
Well, it's a pretty innovative thing to have done. I mean, yes, during the time of 08, 09, when things were, just really scary and nobody knew really how it was all going to play out. That's a pretty brave thing to take that to your leadership of both organizations and look to combine to survive. So tell me what that must have proven your leadership, because I'm sure you had folks that reported to you that had to come through that process, as well as you're working with your management team to guide them through that process. So that's pretty innovative. Tell me how that challenged your leadership at that time.
Leaning on the numbers helped. The economics supported we were able to leverage travel costs and marketing costs and the SEMA show and, partnerships like Insignia. We could leverage those over two distinctly different companies that could both benefit from individual transactions. The ownership group at Webasto reside in Germany, and I understand enough about German business that I make logical sense out of it, and we were approved to go forward with this. And this thing lasted for 6 years, even after things started to improve. And it was just, it just made really good economic sense. And, packaging is a big thing. You never want to just come in with, and our restylers they're not just one product wonders. They like to come up with packages. And For example, Ron and I landed on an acronym. We called it the Plus package. Plus I loved because it was just so potentially universal. So a Plus package could go on anything from a Silverado, even a Prius, you could even call a Volkswagen rather than a Diplomat Plus. So it stood for premium leather upholstery sunroof. Sometimes I'd call it premium leather ultimate sunroof. But the Plus was a wonderful way for both Katzkin and Webasto to sell product together, and having a shared sales and marketing force made it completely aligned. And our customers at the time appreciated dealing with, one voice rather than two distinct voices.
So talk a little bit about your experience in dealerships. I know that you've had extensive experience working with dealerships, dealer groups, OEMs. So talk a little bit about your understanding of the day-to-day. Our audience are sales professionals out on the floor every day trying to move metal. Talk to them about, your experience in their world.
Dealerships are frankly our world at Katzkin, and collectively our restylers, as we call them, our installation partners. We are where cars are sold, and with the car dealerships, I'm amazed as hard as I've worked for 30 years and so many others. There's quite a few people selling cars today that don't know it's possible to upgrade a cloth vehicle to leather. There's a large percent that do get it, and that percentage make great gross. They make great incremental volume because of their knowledge and understanding of how economically turn a cloth vehicle into a leather vehicle to hit a better price point. And or to hit a more unique color aspect that the particular car shopper is looking for. So, I use the word car shopper a lot because everyone starts as a shopper before they become a buyer. And I just think we're one of the untold gems of the automotive industry. When you know how to deploy this properly and help a car shopper hit a better price point, you'll be glad you understand how to drive this machine of Katzkin Leather upgrade.
Yeah, so that's one of the places I really want to dive into today and really help our audience understand, which is that many times you've got a buyer, a shopper, and a buyer that wants that upgraded package, that LTZ or that limited package that their budget just can't quite get to, because usually those interiors or those submodels come with lots of other stuff. So, not only does it have leather, but it's got some kind of a technology package, and maybe a suspension. And maybe really they just want that luxury feel of the drive sitting in a leather seat. So you spend a lot of time, you Katzkin and you Bill North and your team spend a lot of time working with salespeople to help them understand that you can take a base model, you can take a mid-level model, and just by adding leather, you're adding an incremental sale to the vehicle, but you're not blowing out the budget. So give me a little bit more detail on that. Help us understand that a little bit more.
And you said it well, David, with, the LTZ example is if money were unlimited, every Chevy buyer and every Silverado owner would be driving an LTZ
Right.
without exception. It would be high country and LTZ. I mean, why wouldn't you want the most loaded vehicle? What I said about money being unlimited is not reality. And so that's the world we live in. And as car salespeople out there, what the opportunity here is for affordability and what I call trim level independence. When someone comes in and, their salespeople are trained to qualify. What are your needs? What are your, tell me your wants and tell me about you, and I'm going to listen to you and put you in the right kind of vehicle. I guarantee that when folks say leather at a Chevy store and they've been established as a, full-size truck buyer, you say leather, boy, I've got you covered. We've got our LTZ or we've got our high country. They're both great. And when you look at the first number on the window sticker, it's going to start with about a 6,
right,
or a high 5. And so where I'm going with the staggering dollar amounts. When I say understand Katzkin, how to deploy this thing, because we're the key for affordability and trim level independence is a real important thing to help you sell more cars.
Yeah, so take us through, I think one of the misnomers out there, because I've heard this since the beginning that we were introduced to each other. One of the big misnomers in dealerships is, well, the factory doesn't like replacing cloth seats with leather. So you got to be careful. You might do this, you might do that, you might screw up the car kind of thing. Let's dispel some of those myths about, what the detractor in adding leather. Talk a little bit about that and how you actually work with many OEMs. I mean, you were just telling me about a program you're doing with Ford. So help us balance that, myth out there.
The OEMs would like you as a consumer, as a car shopper, to just buy the LTZ.
Yeah.
You said you wanted leather. We've got this all figured out for you. And we don't have to park it at Chevrolet too far or too long. Let's shift gears and go to Nissan. You want leather. It's called the SL. SL vehicles all have leather. It's what the L in SL means. And, they also make an S and an SV that don't have leather. The key is that we've, back to this trim level independence. And what I think is important for car salespeople and sales managers and general managers is OEMs aren't going to walk you down this road of trim level independence because they want you to sell the SL Nissan or the LTZ Chevrolet. The key thing is that, yes, we are a tier 1 supplier. Yes, we work with OEMs, and we have great partnerships with OEMs like Ford, like FCA, that are longstanding, as much as decades old. And yet with any OEM, the sale does not need to go through the OEM. We don't need to alarm the OEM about validation. And so let's talk about what could go wrong. There are airbags in every automotive vehicle built today that I have to comfortably work within. The knowledge base of the fact that Katzkin remove the original OEM cloth, replace it with our automotive grade leather, maintain airbag integrity because of the airbag stitching we utilize, as well as utilizing the attachment points and schemes for the original equipment seat construction. It's a wonderful thing, and see how perfectly the airbags operate. So there's a confidence in knowing that you're manufacturing your leather interiors properly, that you've got the testing and validation that's proven you to be an OEM supplier, and you can apply those disciplines to an aftermarket Kia interior. Or a 6-year-old Mitsubishi. We only know how to use leather interiors with proper airbag deployment and occupant classification sensor technology. Really, the key for a salesperson is having something that they can show a car shopper to kind of paint this picture of how good it looks, how safe it is, and have a seat and feel and smell, and you tell me what you think, Mr. Consumer.
Absolutely. And this isn't something that happens occasionally. I am always blown away by the sheer volume, the number of kits that Katzkin does, and you're just one of a couple. You're the biggest for sure, but you're one of a couple. So this happens quite often out there. I mean, this isn't an isolated niche product in the industry. This is happening day in and day out, probably thousands of times a day. Can you talk a little bit about the volume of number of kits that you do on an annual basis? I mean, do you guys release that information?
We're in the over 100,000 unit per annual category, and as you said, we're not the only manufacturer, and yet, going back to what we discussed earlier on, there's a lot that's untold or misunderstood at the car selling level. And I am frustrated on an ongoing level that probably 25% of the car selling public understand how to make my machine run. And the other 75 don't, because it's not part of their training manual that they got from the OEM. They're living on, they've seen seat covers. They're $40 from Walmart. They've got that stigma. And then this will blow you and I both away. This one, no one's ever asked me for that. You ever had that one, David? Like, oh boy, hey, I'll keep that in mind. If anybody asks me, okay, cool.
Right.
I'm glad you stopped by.
Right.
Nobody's ever asked me for that, but if they do, now I know. Well, dude, you just failed the test.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sad to say. just because no one asked you for it, no one asked Steve Jobs for an iPhone 30 years ago either.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, and it's not, at one point in time I would have said it's sheer salesperson wanting to do the least amount of work to get the most out of it, right? Just sell the car, get your commission, and move on to the next one. And what we are seeing out there more and more and more is that the environment is getting to where just selling the car is not enough. It can't be enough. And salespeople are looking for new ways to add income to their household income. And so more and more we get a lot more serious salespeople who say, okay, now I get this. I don't make as much on the car. And if I can put $1,200 worth of accessories on a car, I can make a pretty good amount on just the accessories, and I can add to my income. You and I see this on a regular basis, where we've got salespeople who are taking home upwards of 10 grand a year in just selling accessories. I mean, I don't know about you, Bill, but I would love to take an extra 10 grand home in my paycheck every year. And it's significant. So let's talk about a salesperson who's in a store, listens to this, and their store doesn't do anything. Help a salesperson. What can that salesperson do? What's the first thing that they can do to educate themselves and maybe begin the process of helping their dealership take advantage of the opportunity to do more leather? What would they do?
Well, I guess first tune their ears into the fact that every cloth vehicle in my inventory has leather if you want it. And so I guess I kind of look at it like a flow chart. And when we're qualifying, first thing we've established that they have kids, they have pets, they mentioned they want leather, they've got a status thing about themselves where all their vehicles have had leather. So, okay, we put that stake in the ground. Then we get to the fact of affordability. And so we've got someone that wants leather, but is really struggling with the price of the most highly contented vehicle. And we realize that in that segment, they're going to buy a Silverado or an F-150 or a Ram. They're going to buy an Accord or a Camry. And so they want leather, and they're going to be at a disadvantage if the only card they can play is the most loaded vehicle. So understanding the value of, you've established you wanted leather. We've established the fact that you're not unlimited in the monthly payment that you want to or can afford to pay. Let me interject the ability, because you said as far as navigation is concerned, you use your iPhone. So do I. I use Waze. I like it better than any automotive navigation system. Mm-hmm. You get factory nav on the most loaded vehicle. You as a salesperson are at a disadvantage because you've got to sell this consumer something that they've already established that they don't want or need. They're going to throw preposterous notions at you like, well, take that navigation system out of that vehicle and then I'll buy the vehicle and give me the money for it, because I told you I don't need navigation. I use my iPhone. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, and boy, salespeople have heard those kind of things. They're not in a position of control or power when they're trying to sell something to a car shopper that the car shopper says they don't want or need. And I told you all I really wanted was 4-wheel drive and leather. Right. You're right. And this thing, it's over $56,000. So really understanding that the ability to put leather in that scenario where you said you wanted leather, and now we're bumping into the affordability block. That's when being able to deploy this notion is a really valuable skill, and it'll pay you to comfortably and confidently suggest it.
So if I'm a salesperson in the store, my store doesn't really offer this, how can I get my store? What do I need to do? I'm thinking about the guy who's being industrious. Does he call his local restyler and get to know them and ask a rep to come in and talk to his GM? Talk me through how I could lead my store to being able to offer this.
Yeah, it's there's an individual battle for him as a car salesperson, and there's a store level battle, and he or her the store may have just longstanding stigma against doing this. So let's start with your suggestions of seek out the restyler, great idea. Going online is a great idea. What I'm going to suggest is square one is frankly in iOS or Android. Mm-hmm. We have an app that is completely well designed for salespeople to utilize on a daily basis. So punch in Katzkin into your app store. Go through the steps. It's a very simple login that allows you full access to all of our pattern information,
Nice.
our colors, right? Because when we've got a Silverado customer, they don't want to see generic seats or pieces of leather. They want to see the color options that are available on that unique geometry for the Silverado seat construction. So it's free for you to use. It's interactive. It's modern because it allows for, you've got an appointment at 4:30 today for a Silverado shopper. They've mentioned they're coming in. What do we know? 4-wheel drive and leather, and they're trading in a 14-year-old Ram. This Ram's so old it still says Dodge on it. Right? And they live, so you get the feeling that the funds may not be unlimited. So what you could do ahead of your 4:30 appointment here, and I'm just making this up as we go along, but you could access the app, you could screenshot or text some Silverado interiors that might be interesting to them. You mentioned you were going to be stopping by the Ford store on your way here to Chevy Land, and I just wanted you to know regarding leather trucks, I can get you in a 1LT with leather that looks like this. So kind of plant that seed earlier, and I'll go back, earlier in the it's the thing that's always attracted me to your company, David, regarding insignia. Getting this notion just germinated, started early in the process is really important because it's a long walk to when you walk into a car dealership and you didn't know that it was possible to upgrade it from cloth to leather. Having the ability of just kind of having some pre-exposure of, okay, so I've seen it online. That's a real category, isn't it? So, use the Katzkin app or, use the Insignia portal to get this kind of thing growing. Plant that seed early, and eventually, to go back to your question directly, the salesperson, after 1 or 2 successful transactions, will be able to demonstrate, even for the most stubborn general manager, that this would have been so much easier if I had 1 or 2 vehicles pre-equipped that I could have just shown them.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. And I love the fact that you guys have an app really attractive to today's sales environment that they can go on, use their phone. I see more and more phone use in the store for a lot of the salesperson tools. They're using their phone. I mean, they've got to go back to their desk for the desking system and all of that. And just looking up inventory, running around, being mobile in the dealership showroom, their phone is their main device. And so you guys having an app like that, so that would be in their app store, and they can just type in Katzkin. What, spell that for our audience?
Certainly, yeah, it's Katzkin. So our founder is Mitch Katz and his sister Leslie. So they are in fact kin, and so our unusual name is from the Katz family, Katzkin.
Kin. And I didn't get that. Okay.
That's really? And
yeah, I didn't know that. I learned something
kin
new
is
today.
kin is more common in your neighborhood than
Absolutely.
mine. And but yeah, Katzkin, and when they're in the app store, it's the Restyler resource. So Katzkin Restyler resource. And we're always happy to walk anybody through if they have any. They can also jump on katzkin.com and send us an email or call our toll-free number with any walkthrough help. And or back to your suggestion earlier, David, Katzkin is as good as the network we've got representing us in every individual market. The trained professionals we have locally that provide these installations are equal 50% of every transaction. We make a beautiful leather interior, but it gets shipped in a box. It's the craftsmen that bring our boxes to life that are just an equal 50% of our transaction. So as you suggested earlier, in any city USA, you've got a qualified Katzkin restyler near you that will help you with anything from app usage to sales training, and they're a really important link of both the selling and the supporting the car dealership network out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I know from personal experience that the restylers out there have folks that are specific reps that go into stores. And I think a lot of times salespeople are funny. They see me coming in there, or they see somebody else, a rep coming in there, and they just scatter. The salespeople see us coming and just scatter. I'm too busy. Can't talk to you. Sorry. And it's one of those things that I giggle about because, I could change your life. If you would just give me 5 minutes, I could change your life. I can help you make more money and be more successful at your job. And yet we're treated like we've got the plague or something. We've got the coronavirus. They just scatter. So that's one of the things I'd like to encourage our audience to do is you've got a restyler who is paid day in and day out. They have a rep day in and day out. Their job is to educate you. So seek them out. I mean, they're going to come in with a shirt on that's going to, say Tops and Trends or Auto Trim or, whatever their name of their company is. Seek those folks out because they're smart folks. They know this side of the business and use their expertise. So I think that's also one of the key points that you all have done a great job with, which is fostering that network of installers and partners out there that, my goodness, their job is to help the store make more money because they make more money. And if a salesperson makes more money, the store makes more money and the restyler makes more money. So it's one of those things where I'm always giggling when I actually get a salesperson to take 5 minutes, talk to me, and then they suddenly learn 2 or 3 things. This happened in a JLR store just the other day. Had this guy, he did not want to talk to me. I mean, he would not make eye contact. And the parts manager took me over to him and I saw his eyes literally roll. It was like, oh, geez.
Trying to sell me something, aren't you?
It's like, oh, geez, come on. What do you have to tell me? And so I spent 5 minutes with him, asked him a couple of questions. He was honest and said, look, I try to present accessories. I'm not very successful. I don't know why. And it turned out that he just wasn't letting the customer shop. And I said, hey, try this technique. And I get to go back next month and find out how he did. And at least he was receptive and changed his mind about something and realized that, well, maybe I don't know everything. So anyway, that I'll get off that soapbox. But
we agree.
Bill, it's been awesome to have you today. Is there anything else that you would like our audience to know about you or Katzkin or the leather industry?
No, I think you framed it really well, David. And just, your closing point of looking at your local Katzkin restyler as an absolute resource, not as just another vendor. We're the fountain of affordability, if you will.
The fountain of affordability.
Yes, we're the key to growth, right?
Yeah.
We're the road to incremental car sales, right? I mean, that sounds kind of far-fetched and bold, but all of those are true. When the 30-second window opens up of suggesting leather to make a vehicle more affordable, you've got to be comfortable and confident with the way that you present that. And use the local restyler to kind of help you through that. And car salespeople and general managers up to principals, they don't need to thank us later. They just need to just keep running this play, keep the inventory updated with leather interiors, and we will all prosper.
Yeah, I mean, once you get going on it, it's something you just can't stop because it just becomes an automatic moneymaker for your store and for your salespeople. Well, great. Well, thanks again so much, Bill, for joining us. Podcast listeners, thank you for joining us. If you want more information about insignia related to Katzkin, I recommend you check out our second episode of the Diplomat Challenge. That was where we teamed up with Katzkin to take the Diplomat to the next level and gave me that first class experience that I drive to work every day in my own car. And it was awesome. And it was a lot of fun to make that video.
Yeah, that was an Auto Toys installation too in Charlotte, wasn't it, David?
It was. Yes, absolutely it was.
Yeah.
Yep, they did a fantastic job. Oh, they're great guys. Good example of a great restyler. So, well, Bill North, thank you again. Really appreciate it. Until next time, I'm David Stringer, and this has been Next Up Accessories, where we connect your next up and vehicle personalization to help you make more money and happier customers. Thanks again for tuning in. Every deal, every day. Bye-bye.